And that's not. I'm not having a go at the referees here. Not before the season starts, anyway.
Yeah.
But you know, they've got to be policed better. In my opinion, it's not the kind of the rule that's wrong. It's the policing of it, in my opinion. But I'm glad to say it's reverted to the one-on-one now, rather than, because we were seeing all sorts of gamesmanship going on last year with people deliberately falling off tackles to allow the ball to be reefed. You know,
absolutely.
Again, I don't know what people think about that. Are they happy? Let us know. If you're happy that we've gone back to the old rule.
Yeah. Well, I'd be surprised if anybody is. I think we talked about the integrity of the game last year, didn't we? And I think it just it wasn't right. It didn't feel right. So yeah, okay, right. Gamesmanship clamped down last year. This crept into the game, especially when defences were camped on their own line at pivotal points in the game. We saw players going down, physios coming on. A lot of the coaches had a lot to say about this. This is now a case of, if a player goes down injured and requires a HIA. Anyone who needs to, but unless a player goes down injured with an HIA, and again, there's an integrity piece there, anyone who stops the game must depart the field for 2 minutes. Now, I've said this about football for years in terms of diving, that, if your physio comes on, it's not like this, just go to the side and you're straight back on. No, you're off for 2 minutes. And that will cut out all the gamesmanship in football. Yet again, rugby league, for me, pioneering it. I think this is a great rule.
I'm this is the one I'm most pleased at. For me, I've seen this creeping in over a few years now, and this is not, I wouldn't go anybody, but first time I really noticed it was Hull at Wembley when they beat Warrington, 2016, I think. And a lot of their players were going down. They may have had genuine injuries, but the game was stopped a lot, particularly as we were attacking their line, and they were going down in defence. Now, that's not leveling the blame at anyone particular.
No.
And then I noticed particularly a game against Salford. All the very best.
Good evening. Toasting the new season that's only 3 weeks away. Good evening to you.
I'll have a brew.
Crack on.
Oh, you throw me right off now. And then I noticed I'm feeling a bit dry, sir.
Well, as you're feeling dry, Neil Poppleton has just dropped in. Hello, Neil.
Right, Neil.
And Callum Riley as well. Callum Riley's coming on as well, which is fantastic.
It's good to see people back. And then again, season after at Salford, and obviously particularly, I think it was Ken Seo. They were giving him the last rights. Then 30 seconds later, he ran through our defence and scored under the posts. It's not it's not a new thing. It's been going on for about 5 or 6 years now. And as we said last year, it's the football element that's creeping in that we didn't like.
And let's give praise to the Rugby Football League and to Super League. This is a positive step to clamp that out very quickly. So
and that's not me having to go at those two particular teams.
No.
They're the games I noticed it first.
Every team
does it.
Every team was at it last year.
Every team does
it. Every team was at it. But it's good that they've done this. Right, number 4, concussion. I like this one as well. It's going to go from 7 days to 11. So of course, last year, if a team was playing on Sky on a Thursday night and a player failed his HIA and was playing the following Sunday, actually they will be cleared to play. Now that wouldn't be the case. They're definitely going to have to miss a round of rugby league. Now, this is great. I think it's right in terms of player welfare. My question, it's really going to come to the test this come Challenge Cup and Grand Final weeks.
Yeah.
That's going to be the clincher here. Because from an integrity piece...
Yeah, if you've got your star player on a HIA, again, it's the integrity call, isn't it? Are you going to call it?
Yeah, and that's it.
Right. It's right for player welfare.
Yeah.
It needs addressing.
Yeah.
But you're right. You've hit the nail on the head there. It's going to be interesting come cup final, the week before cup final, the week before grand final, semi-final, and final.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, that's where the acid test is going to be when there's cups on the line. What's going to happen then? And again, you just hope that, and I'm sure it'll be the case. You just hope that Super League holds firm on that and says no. It is what it is. That player's going to have to sit out. But that's where that's going to come to the fore. Right, number 6, Channel 4. Oh, sorry, number 5. 48-0 replaces 24-0. That's a quick one. I think, to be fair, positive in the fact that it's even greater incentive to
as long as it's administered evenly. There were a few cases last year where certain teams were given a 24-0 win, and certain teams weren't. As long as it's across the board and it's consistent. Again, it's that word consistency. It seems to be a word that crops up when you discuss rugby league a lot.
Yeah,
in everything, not just refereeing decisions, but everything about the sport. As long as it's consistent. Gary Neville's having a go at the footballers at the minute for Premiership teams for pulling out of games. Maybe if they had to forfeit a 6-0 win,
you're not wrong.
They'd think twice.
Yeah, I mean, obviously 48-0 from especially this year where points percentage has gone. We may as well come to that now. Fantastic news that points percentage has gone. And I think the fact that is no more, and it's just going to come down to difference. 48-0 loss is a big dent on your form against. Yeah. So
I agree, and I hope. We've gone through some challenging times, let's say, and there have been genuine reasons why some teams haven't been able to field a team, but. Yeah, I think it will encourage teams to play the games, which is what we want. It's what we all want to see.
Absolutely. The thing, like I say, as long as I remember when Warrington played Salford and they put a load of kids out, and to be fair, they were leading at half time. Salford came back and won, but I'd rather see that than a team forfeit a game. Let the kids have a go. Let the kids have a go. Blood them. Let's see what they can do. Warrington came very close to winning that game against.
Well, they should have won. They should have won. They had a perfectly good try disallowed, and it was a last minute penalty.
Yeah.
That beat them in the end. But I was talking about this last night that clubs like Burnley or whatever who in the Premiership who are wanting games cancelled. They had 10 fit first team players. We've got a squad of 25. I'm sure there's some kids in there who would love the chance to play against Arsenal, United, Liverpool, whoever.
And you might uncover. I mean, look, Super League's littered with them. Lewis Dodd. We've got Matty Ashton. There's Will Price that's come through.
Will Price. I was just going to say that. Yeah.
These players. They need it. The talent is there in our competition. And for me, if I would rather they get given the opportunity to play, and do you know what? Rugby league's a tough sport. I mean, to lose 48-0, you go in some. I know we've seen some blowouts in Challenge Cups over the years, but 48-0. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? It's going to be worse by about 4 or 6 points. But at least you're given, as a coach, you can see how these kids are going to perform against Super League opposition.
I agree 100%. That game against Salford, Thulis came through and he may never have been given a chance if he hadn't been and now he's knocking on the door of the first team.
Yeah.
Rumours are he's going to be getting some game time this season. There are lots of other players in other clubs.
Yeah.
So I agree 100%. I'd like to see clubs blood the youngsters more.
Yeah, I would, mate. I would. And then last but not least, Channel 4. Now, rumours, don't know how true rumours are, but Channel 4 want to do it fresh, the same. They want to put a complete new slant on it. A lot of rumours that Adam Hills is going to front this.
And that would be good. That would be very good.
And Helen Skelton as well.
Well, she's just given birth, so...
Yeah, but again, rugby league people.
Yeah, exactly. Adam Hills has done a great thing for disability rugby as well.
Yeah.
Knows his stuff, not just because he's a Warrington fan, obviously, but yeah, that would be a good call. It needs a fresh format. I think I won't have been the only rugby league fan punching the air with delight when I heard the news that Channel 4 were going to get some games. I think
we've been calling
most rugby league fans would do that.
Yeah.
Sky's become stale.
Yeah.
It needs a shake-up. The coverage needs a shake-up.
Yeah.
We're pushed around left, right, and centre. Fixtures are changed last minute.
Yeah.
We're obviously, the poor partners to all the other sports. Women's football is getting more airtime than rugby league now on Sky.
Well, I don't know if you noticed.
Not being disrespectful to women's football, but
yeah, but did you notice the adverts now that Sky are doing about it's only live one? Super League doesn't even get a mention for 2022.
It does. It shows.
No, you don't know the badges.
St Helens fans at a grand final.
Yeah, but the badges at the end.
No, it doesn't. No,
doesn't show Super League. It shows women's football.
It does show the fans at the grand final.
It doesn't actually have the badge.
No logo. Yeah, there's no logo.
Which
right.
is bad form for me. But I tell you what, I'm really pleased about as well. Yes, Warrington Leeds kick it off at Headingley on the 10th, but also the second game is Saints Hull FC. So it's not. So what's pleasing is it's not. No disrespect to Toulouse here, and I'm going to throw. I could throw. If we're being honest, people would expect, and we'll get into where we think people will finish later. But if it was said, who would you expect to be in the bottom 5 places? Toulouse is going to be mentioned. Salford would probably be mentioned. Wakefield would probably be mentioned, and then after that, possibly Huddersfield or Castle. Or it goes into those. So if it could have easily have been a Toulouse-Salford game that got put on Channel 4. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll always watch rugby league no matter who's playing. So it'd be far better than watching, for me personally, a Burnley against Watford. I'd rather
Burnley
watch
Crystal Palace, mate.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I'd rather watch the rugby. But what's really, really good is that the first 2 games that that Channel 4 are going to show should be good contested games, and that's what. Yeah,
let's hope so. Let's hope so. Let's hope they're not one-sided games. Obviously, I'd love to see Warrington win, but if it's a 25-24 win for Leeds with a last-minute drop goal, or the other way around, it can only be good for the game.
The old Warrington one at Headingley after George Williams last year, to be fair.
Well,
so who's to say? Right. So what we're going to do there, the rule changes. That's pretty much a lot of the things that have differed. You may have noticed on the Super League Fans Forum what we're trying to do every couple of days is we'll do a quick scout around the clubs, and anything of note, whether it be an interview, whether it be an article for each team, we'll just upload it onto our fans forum. That means you don't have to go searching for it. What it actually will do is, if you're a Hull KR supporter, you might learn something about Salford or see an interesting interview, an interesting podcast, whatever it may be. So we'll keep doing that. Thank you to those who have commented on our new logo. I have to say, I'm loving that behind my head, I have to say. Mr. Burrow, I don't know which fans forum member it was who said, could you not find a better picture of him? Not really the point, mate, if I'm being honest. It's not about that. It's about the colour scheme, and it's about the tribute. It's not necessarily about the fact that he's in high definition. So he's just like, well, anyway. But thanks for the feedback anyway. But yeah, great to pay tribute to the man as we go through this year. Hopefully people enjoyed the new titles as well. And we're going to try and freshen it up a bit in our second year. So what we're going to do now, mate, is we're doing well. We've got 40 minutes, so we've got a bit of time. We're going to look at the first team, which is going to be the Catalan Dragons. It should have been Castleford. Well, as all supporters do, what do we make of the Catalan kit?
The home one's okay. I'm not so sure about the away one.
I think they're both smart, if I'm being honest. I don't mind. I don't mind either, myself.
They've got to be careful when they hit the floor that a gang of school kids don't walk over with a lollipop lady.
Oh, dear me.
That one out, Mr. Child.
I've seen worse. I've seen worse. I would say that. But right, okay. So obviously, Catalan Dragons. What we're going to do is just turn my camera off. Let's just do that. Let's have a look then at last year's squad versus this year's squad. Here it comes for your viewing pleasure. Right. So as you can see, Steve Mcnamara, obviously the coach. Last year's league leaders and Shield winners, grand final runners-up, great final, of course. You'll see a few stars there. That depicts the fact that they were picked in the dream team last year. So you'll see there that last year, Tom Davies, James Maloney, Sam Cassiano, Sam Tompkins, all found their way into the team of the year. Few changes here for the Catalan Dragons. Backline, pretty much as you were. Semi Solangi, of course, was supposed to go to Wakefield, decided not to in the end and remains. Obviously, number one, Arthur Morg. We're both fans of Arthur Morg, but obviously Sam Tompkins at 29 would be expected to start at full back, but a great understudy in Arthur Morg. So 1 to 5 as you were. James Maloney, dream team last year, had a great season at 35 years of age, replaced by the 32-year-old who will be 33 in April, Mitchell Pearce. At standoff, but apart from that, it's as you were. That's the only change to the 1 to 13. Obviously, Sam Tompkins will be included in that in terms of the number 29, and it goes on as well. I mean, you know, not an awful lot of changes. Mitchell Pearce, of course, coming in. Tyrone May coming in as well.
Yeah, and Dylan Nappa as well.
Dylan Nappa, yeah. So 3 from the NRL. We won't go into their tarnished pasts. One moment while we bring ourselves back up. We won't go into their tarnished pasts, some of them, but actually good recruitment. Good recruitment.
I think they've replaced like for like with Pearce, and Maloney.
Yeah.
They've kept a solid squad. They've not changed a lot of things around. They've kind of beefed up the kind of, you know, the, if you like, the subs bench, if you like, the interchange bench. No wholesale change. Why would they? They, for whatever reasons, last year they topped the league. They got to the grand final. They've been improving year on year, Catalan. So once Maloney said he was going to retire, they brought in like for like, as far as I'm concerned, with Mitchell Pearce.
Whilst we're talking about Mitchell Pearce, let's have a look at him. For those who don't know Mitchell Pearce, where have you been? But this is Mitchell Pearce. We'll just play a little montage whilst we're going through it. Sydney Roosters, of course. Newcastle Knights is where he's been. A grand final winner in 2013, a minor premier in 2015, 309 NRL appearances, 77 tries, 19 State of Origin appearances, and a 2019 State of Origin winner, scoring 3 tries in his time in the State of Origin. And finally, an NRL All-Star in 2015. He knows where the line is. He's got the trickery. He's got the rugby brain. Many people already tipping him for a potential Man of Steel nod. This is box. You know, it's one of those players. This that if the real Mitchell Pearce stands up for Catalan Dragons, then you know a lot of supporters are going to enjoy watching him this year, and I don't just mean Catalan fans either.
I agree, and the benefit they've got is, you know, the weather in the south of France. He's going to enjoy that. It's not like he's coming to, you know, England and taking time to settle in. He'll probably hit the ground running with the weather over there. Yeah, which is why I think Maloney was such a big part of the Catalan picture.
Yeah.
The thing for me is, what do we do with Arthur Morg? Because you've got to start playing Arthur Morg.
He's a player, isn't he? I mean, last year he is a player.
He's a player, he's Arthur Morg. They've got to decide this year, does he step up or risk losing him? And you could see somebody like Saints, somebody like Wigan, somebody like Warrington. You know, if Widdop's going at the end of this season, allegedly.
Well, I think this is, yeah, we'll get to Warrington, but yeah, you're right. I think Widdop will be gone, and you're right. You know, if he was to become available, then there would be there'd be a lot of clubs that'd be they'd be looking at him.
Sam Tompkins isn't getting any younger. Joel's gone.
Yeah, he's not. No,
Joel's gone to Lee, I think. So, they've got a decision to make with Artem Org. I mean, I'd have him in the. I'm not a rugby league coach, but I would find a way of getting him into that team because he does a lot of good things. He's brave. The size of him, he's brave. He's skillful. He's fast. You know, he scored a lot. He did a lot of good things when he came on last year.
I think for me, what I've got to pay a lot of tribute to Mcnamara on here. You know, when you look at the ins and the outs of all of the clubs, Catalans have had the least disruption, and I've brought in three players. I mean, look, with the exception of Mitchell Pearce, you know, we'll go on. We'll have a look at Dylan Nappa, who you mentioned a moment ago. We'll take a look at him as well, because again, this guy's come over from the NRL.
Yeah, was it? Yeah, the Bulldogs.
He was. That's where he was last. He's also been a Sydney Rooster as well, hasn't he? In the past. But what we'll do is again, we'll just have a quick look at Dylan. This for those, because some people who don't know Dylan Nappa. So yeah, here he is, and we'll just have a little look at him whilst we're talking. And again, look at the pedigree. I mean, the interesting thing about Dylan Nappa is he's only 29, so you would say he's in his prime. World Club Challenge winner 14, a grand final winner 17, 174 NRL appearances. I mean, this was a hit. Look at that for a hit. Yeah. Ooh.
You just missed out the swinging arm there, Dave.
Yeah, but you know, we've always said that we like a bit of biff, don't we?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Let's have a look at that one again. Here we go. Here it comes. Ooh, that's a lovely shot. 174 NRL appearances, 6 tries, and again, a state of origin man, you know, and a state of origin winner of 2017, Cook Island International, 29 years of age. He's in his prime. You know, this is a great, I mean, you know, he's a prop forward.
Yeah.
Team, well, let's be absolutely honest, last season, their pack, you know, them and probably I would say St. Helens, the 2 largest packs in Super League with strength in. And you know, yes, they've lost Joel Tompkins, who would be a utility forward. To replace him with this guy, you can only say that their arm wrestler in the front has just got even stronger going into this year.
I think this is what I mean. I think he's there for 2 years. I think he might well be interchange and then starting next season. The Catalan pack is getting on a little bit now.
I don't think he'll start.
I think he'll be an interchange if anything. But he's not come over here to sit on the beach. He's come over here to play.
Absolutely.
And he can hit and attack, looking that lad.
100%. And then the last one, of course, and again, we talked about Mitchell Pearce about being excited. You know, Tyrone May, 25 years of age, left the Penrith Panthers under a little bit of a cloud. We won't go into that. But, you know, this is a player of real stature. He's, you know, this is, there's no doubt he's trying to repair his reputation before he goes back over the pond. We know that. But without doubt, if Tyrone May hits the ground running, this is another player who Catalan have brought in who is absolute box office. I mean, here he is. I mean, again, for those of you who don't know Tyrone May, you know, Penrith Panthers, like I said, minor Premier winner 2020, grand final winner last year, 56 NRL appearances, 10 tries, Samoan international. You know, this guy, you know, utility, can play anywhere across the back line, can even play in the halves if need be.
Yeah.
Hell of a player. Hell of a player.
Yeah, and again, you know, that some of the Catalan backs aren't spring chickens anymore.
No.
And you know, he's a guy who, as you say, is repairing a bit of a tarnished reputation. He is going to want to make an impact, I think. And again, I think the grounds, the weather over there, for the majority of the time, will suit him.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, you know, in terms of Catalan, they're not going to be a one-season wonder. I think we both agree with that. I think they've absolutely strengthened. You know, they were the winners of the regular season last year. Where do you see Catalan finishing this season?
I am going to be a little bit controversial here. I think they're going to finish third.
Well, don't tell us second or first.
No, I won't. I think they're going to finish third this year.
Okay.
No disrespect to them, but I think the points percentage favoured them a little bit last season.
Yeah, I get that.
They didn't travel. Obviously, some restrictions didn't allow them to, but when the restrictions were lifted, they didn't do a lot of travelling.
Yeah,
I think that benefited them. They play less games than everybody else.
They played 21. I think in the regular season they played. St. Helens played two more than them last year.
So I think they are going to finish third.
Okay. I've put my place above that. I think they'll finish second.
Okay.
And again, very similar to you. I think, it's only going to take one fixture for them not to be able to fulfill it, and that's pretty much that's pretty much first gone for me. Equally, traveling, the travel aspect of it, and the fact that actually, and as we go through each team each week, the fact that actually, yes, there's no doubt they have strengthened, and it's very difficult to sit here, for a team that, let's be fair, in the regular season last year, they were, for me, phenomenal throughout. They just run out of, well, they didn't. They played in a really good final that could have gone either way.
It was a great final. It was a great final. It could have gone either way.
But I don't know. Like you, do I see him doing it again? No. And this was interesting when I was pulling this together today. I've done this as well for each team, and we are going to know more after the first 5 games. I mean, I don't know if you've looked at it. This is their first 5 games.
Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah. Saints away, obviously live on Sky. Then Wakefield at home. If that had been away, and Leeds at home, good God, that'd have been even harder. I mean, Wakefield in the middle of February, that's not a nice game to be going to, especially if it's cold. But anyway, luckily for them, they're at home for that one, and you would expect them to win that one. But then they've got to go to Leeds, then they go to Warrington, and then they welcome Wigan. I mean, dearie me, that is an incredible first 5. Now, if they can come through that with 8 points, I think they would take that as a massive win. I think
if they come out of that with 8 or 6 points,
it's a result.
I think that's setting out a standard.
Well, yeah, because when you think about it, I mean, look at those away games. First 3 away games, Saints, Leeds, and we'll get on to Leeds next week. But another team that have recruited very, very well and look interesting. I mean, again, looks a real prospect going into the new year. But Saints, Leeds, Warrington, ouch. But you're right. If they can come through that 6 or 8 points up, in a group of games, so turning this on its head, if would Warrington if Warrington had that same, if you fixture list, but Catalan, of course, replaced them, so it was Saints, Wakefield, Leeds, Catalan, Wigan, or Wigan the same, Wigan going to Saints, Wakefield, Leeds, Warrington, and then Catalan. Any supporter would look at that and go,
"It's like a sharp intake of breath."
Yeah, and if you're taking 6 points out of that, with that level of, because these games between the top 5 teams, top 5 or 6, a lot of the time there's very little in it.
Didn't they beat Saints home and away last year though?
Oh yeah, they've got a great record against Saints. Yeah. They play against the regular season.
It's an interesting one, Saints away. It's the first game of the season. The weather could very well play a big part. February, cold, wet, snowy. The Aussie contingent,
Oh, it's a baptism of fire if it's cold.
Mitchell Pearce might think, what's going on here?
This isn't red wine and sunshine, is it? You know what I mean?
This is what they promised me in the brochure. But then again, first game of the season, Saints have got some new boys.
Oh.
It's the first game of the season.
It could go either way.
Everybody's a little bit rusty. Everybody's a little bit getting to know new moves, etc.
Getting to know you. It's almost like we're going to start singing. Maybe not. Right. Okay. So you've gone. In fact, I should be making a note of these. Make a note. Have you got a pen, Andy? I think you're on your.
I'm not Andy. I'm Reggie. Yeah. I've gone for third.
Right. So make a note of that because I haven't got a pen. So you've gone third.
Yeah.
I've gone second for Catalan. Make a note of that. We'll come back to that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good man, good man. Right, we then move on to the Huddersfield Giants, and exactly the same as we did with Catalan. What do we make of their shirts?
I quite like them. Traditional one for the home side. I like that for the away kit. It's quite a nice kit.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, quite a nice kit.
Yeah, it's got a nice. It's got a bit of a nice design on that one.
Not so sure about the tattoos, but it's quite a nice kit.
He's got his eye on you there, mate. But no, I agree. It's a traditional. It's a traditional jersey in terms of Huddersfield. Right, let's take a look at the squad then. Let's take the cameras off. Let everybody see the squad. Here we go. So, finished 9th last year. Did Huddersfield serve? Let's just what's going on there? Yeah, and as you can see, quickly going down the 2022 squad, Will Price given the number 1 shirt over Ashton Goulding this year.
Yeah.
And then it's Jermaine, no real change. Obviously, Ashton Goulding put on the wing as the replacement for Darnell McIntosh, who has moved on, of course, to pastures new. McIntosh going to Hull, isn't it? He's gone to Hull. So there goes our Darnell. Then, of course, it's the new halfback partnership. Obviously, Lola Hoya, he's played for Ian Watson before at Salford. And, of course, the worst secret of last season, Theo Farge travelling across from St Helens at 7. Farge last year was superb for St Helens. Superb.
Yeah, I'm surprised they've let him go, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll get to Saints in a couple of weeks, but obviously they've gone doddy, haven't they? And to be fair, we've got to applaud Saints for that. We were saying earlier, weren't we, that these kids need the opportunity to. It's a hell of a. When you look at some of the halfback combinations this year, that's one hell of a. I won't say risk because the lad's a good player, but it's a baptism of fire, and it could either backfire. I mean, I think fortunately for Saints, and we'll get to that, like I said, in a couple of weeks, he's got a lot of experience around him. Then, of course, Chris Hill. Coming in at 8, Luke Yates, who I personally believe should have been in the dream team at loose forward last year, dropping to 13, and rightly so. I thought he was a revelation at loose forward last year. Danny Levy comes in at hooker to replace Adam O'Brien. And then you've got, of course, Michael Lawrence, Josh Jones, good season last year. Chris McQueen, we were, very complimentary of Chris McQueen last year. Had a good season. And then you've got the. Again, you look at this here. You've got Matty English, Joe Greenwood, Jack Cogger, Owen Trout. Then of course the Sebastian from I think he's come from Salford, hasn't he? He's again somebody that Ian Watson knows well. And again, when you start, even as you continue to look down that list at some of the higher numbers, Ollie Ashall-Bolt had a good season at 31 last year. Sam Hewitt, not a bad player at all in his senior. Good player. Obviously, Leroy Cudjoe down at 21. God, is he 105 now? How old's Leroy Cudjoe? But,
he's getting there.
I mean, this is a really interesting squad. And I think a lot rests on the spine. I'm really excited. Will Price is going to be lining up at fullback. Really, really excited about that.
Yeah, I tipped Huddersfield last season as my surprise package. I think you remember, and you laughed at me.
You did.
You laughed at me a lot last season, if I'm being honest. I don't know why I've come back, to be honest. I don't get paid enough. But...
don't get paid? You do for the love of the sport.
Exactly. That's why you're on beer and I'm on tea. But I'm not so sure this season. I think Huddersfield might struggle this season.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do.
So where would you put them?
I'm going to put them at 10th.
Ooh. So here's what. So the man who laughed at you last year.
Yeah.
I'm putting him at 8th.
I'm not laughing. I'm not cruel.
Yeah, I'm putting him at 8th.
8th.
Okay. I'm putting him at 8th. So mark me down, Huddersfield. I've got 8 for
Huddersfield.
Sir. Mark me down. I've got 8 for Huddersfield. And the reason is, I think on paper, and we'll get into the teams that I might have knocked down the pecking order for that. What I liked about Huddersfield last year, we saw him. I think we did a live St Helens, and I've seen him a couple of times against St Helens last year.
We did a live one against Warrington when they in
the first half, yeah. And I think the pack last year really stood up. I think the problem with them was that They had to move Lee Gaskell. Obviously, Aston Goulding was out. Lee Gaskell went to full-back. Caesar, we know, was out. The half-back, it was a mess, an absolute mess. The pack, though, did really, really well. So the fact that they've now got Theo Farge, they've got Lola Hoya and Price at full-back, I think if the pack can be as equally as good as they were last year, that is worth a couple of places. I think they'll finish higher because of that. Could be wrong, could be right.
Who knows?
Who knows?
What I'm looking at is not so much the players he brought in, but the players they've lost.
Yeah.
Caesar, Gaskell, Kenny Edwards.
Yeah, McIntosh.
McIntosh.
Joe Wardle. I mean, obviously, Joe Wardle had his injuries, didn't he, last year? Didn't really.
But if they're all fit, they're good players.
They are, but I mean, Caesar didn't want to be there. I mean, I don't get it wrong. Caesar, Farge, there's not an awful lot there. I'm not going to split hairs. People will probably say Caesar on his days a better scrum half. I don't know.
Well, I don't know split anymore since the COVID comb over went, but.
But he didn't want to be there last year for me. Gaskell,
no, but still, if we take that out of the equation,
yeah,
is Caesar a better player than Farge? Does Farge benefit from and this again is no disrespect to Huddersfield? Did Farge shine because he had a better pack in front of him, a bigger pack in front of him? Would Caesar have been a better player if it had the Saints pack in front of him?
Yeah, we're going to find that out. But I think that, but I think for me, you look at last year's squad, you look at this year's squad for Huddersfield. I do think that it's not the fact that I'm going more off the fact that last year some very big and influential players for them, Goulding, Caesar, Wardle even, we go as far as Wardle as well, who was out for most of the season injured. The ball playing players were all over the place last year. If they can keep Price, La Hoya and Farge fit, that for me is why I will put them up a couple of places. I think that again, and of course we've not even mentioned Chris Hill, other than his complete head going in that game against Hull KR. Chris Hill last season had one of his best seasons for Warrington, without doubt. So,
he had the captaincy taken off him, didn't he? He had the captaincy taken off him, and he benefited his game. Yeah. He took a lot of unfair criticism, Chris Hill, for a while at Warrington. I've liked Chris Hill. He's a good player. Personally, would I have given him another year at Warrington? I don't know.
I think the time had come. I
don't know. But I can see where you're coming from, Dave. But I just look at the players that they've lost. And I think last year I had them as a surprise package. I think this year, and, hopefully they will. They might prove me wrong, but I think 10th for Huddersfield. Huddersfield.
Well, we'll certainly find out. But here's Huddersfield's start. Not too bad. Obviously, Toulouse, that's on the evening of the game. So the Warrington game is on Channel 4. And then in the evening on Sky is Toulouse against Huddersfield at Toulouse. So, again, Toulouse will be up for that. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. But Huddersfield, with that team, and we'll get to Toulouse down the track, they have to go and beat Toulouse. They can't. For me, if they was to lose that, my 8th, forget about it.
Toulouse are the unknown quantity.
Big time. Absolutely. I completely agree.
You remember when Super League started and Wigan went to Paris and got beat?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, they'll be well up for it. Absolutely.
It'd be a hostile crowd. They're not known for their tea and biscuits at Toulouse.
No. Yeah, but when Rocky went to fight Ivan Drago, sometimes the hostile crowd turns, mate. These things.
True.
So.
Well, that's enough. That's enough of darts.
Well, then you've got OKR. I mean, tough game. Wigan Warriors, tough game, and then Salford Castle. In the same way that if you're a realist at Huddersfield, you're looking at that, and if they was to somehow come through those with 6 points, that's a good result. Yeah. It's a good result. I mean, 4's not a disaster, but they're going to be judged first and foremost, not against Wigan. I can't believe, who'd have thought we'd have been saying this at the start of last season, potentially not against Hull KR, but the Toulouse, Salford and Cass, certainly Toulouse and Salford, these are the games that if Huddersfield are going to do anything, in terms of even hint at the possibility of a top 6, these are the games they have to win, but not just win well.
The to-lose Huddersfield game is a marker in the sand for both teams and how they're going to do this season, I think.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. And we like, we've always liked Huddersfield. I like Huddersfield. We like Huddersfield as a club. We both do. It'd be nice to, I was delighted that year when they went league leaders. It's
Well, they were, when we won it the first time. The Huddersfield fans had the banner congratulating us. Class.
It is indeed.
I just wish a few more of those fans who went to watch Huddersfield when they were in the Premier League would go and watch a top division rugby league team and fill that stadium like they do for Premiership football.
Completely and utterly agree with you. So big opening 5 for Huddersfield, and you know what? I'm going to be like a kid at Christmas, mate. Can't wait for that first week. Every single one of those games I'm watching without doubt. And actually, whilst we're on that topic, before we go and have a quick look at Hull, and we'll do our prediction on them. We're doing well here in terms of time. Keep it an hour. This year, what we actually are looking for in terms of the fans forum, and I'll probably might post this as a separate video outside of the actual show. What we're looking for from the fans forum this year, a couple of things. One, we would love representatives of each team. You've seen what we do now. You've seen me and Greg go at it every week. We would love a pool of fans from different clubs to get in touch and get involved, where you can come on. You can talk. So, for example, if you were at a Castleford Wakefield game that wasn't on the TV, and you're a Castle Wakefield fan, and you're absolutely cheesed off because something happened that me and Greg have only seen highlights of on the telly or whatever it may be, and you're impassioned, drop us a line, want to come on, want to talk about that, injustice, whatever. Might be that you've seen the greatest try you've ever seen, whatever it may be. We want you to get involved. The other thing as well that we would be really keen for people to do, me and Greg will do this, when you're at the game. So, you'll probably be in a pub with your mates. Go Facebook Live on the forum page. Let us see you in the pub doing your chants. Let's see some supporters doing that. When you're in the ground at half time, go and find a corner somewhere. Give a half time report on your game for people who are sat at home who aren't at the game. What's it like? What's going on? Give your assessment. So it's not just me and you that's doing these type of things. Everybody's doing it. We've got. Wouldn't it be wonderful every week to have a live from each ground, a supporter? Whether it be in the pub, celebrating, crying in the beer, at the ground, giving a halftime assessment, whatever it may be. That's what this for me is all about. It's about a community. It's about, just embracing rugby league and getting
exactly. We'd love more people to get involved.
Yeah, it'd be great, wouldn't it?
What's in our place as well? Tell us when you think we're talking when you think Dave's talking rubbish.
Hey, don't. Prediction league last year. Hey, you can't go 2 years in a row.
Beginner's luck, mate. Beginner's luck.
You can't go 2 years in a row. Tell you. Oh, dear. But yeah, so get involved. That's our plea to you. Get involved. Do your lives. Me and you will set the precedent on that in terms of when we're at the ground. Get involved. And not just that as well. If you're an away supporter and you're going to Warrington, drop us a line. We might have a beer with you before the game. We might even record that. Go live with that and have a bit of a tit-a-tat. So a little bit of a shout out there in terms of hopefully what this season's going to be all about. Right. Last but not least, for the first show, we're going to Hull FC. Oh dear. So before we do, let's take a look at the shirt. So let's just get ourselves on. And first of all, I'm going to applaud the home shirt. I saw a few Hull fans who, for whatever reason, said they didn't like that home shirt. I think it's an absolute belter.
It's a traditional Hull shirt.
It's a brilliant shirt. It's just it's simple. It's just if I was a Hull fan,
I remember a shirt from the 80s.
Yeah,
a Hull shirt from the 80s. They've had black and white stripes for a long time.
Yeah.
I like the V. I like the black and white V. It's very kind of all blacks.
Yeah.
Right.
Looks like Jake Connor's only just got up there, though, isn't he? It looks like he's half asleep there, Jake Connor. I don't know what's going on there, but
I won't tell him that.
I wouldn't tell him that. No.
The away kit's a bit NRL. Quite nice. Quite nice.
It's smart. I think sometimes we've had Warrington's had some woeful ones over the years.
Shockers.
The thing about that, if I'm a Hull fan, I'd buy both of them. I think they're both smart shirts. I think they both look the part. Yeah, spot on. Anyway, enough about the fashion. Let's get to the actual to the business side of things. Let's get to the squads. So here's the squads, and as you can see, last year, quite a small squad was named last year for Hull FC.
Yeah.
But in terms of this year, let's take a look at it. So obviously, Adam Swift picked at 2. He played predominantly the vast majority of the games for Hull anyway last year. I've always had a big admirer of the two centres. I think Tumavari and Griffin, 2 class acts. Of course, there's Darnell McIntosh, fresh from Huddersfield. He's going to be on the wing as well. And then, of course, changes in the halves. Mark Sneed going to Salford. We'll talk about that when we get to Salford. But Luke Gale, who again was predominantly out injured all last season, he slides into 7. Luigi Sau comes up to prop. Danny Horton still there. Chris Sate, brilliant last year. Andre Savelio, good season. Mane Mayu, good season. Like Jordan Lane, I like Joe Cater. I think both of those 2 lads, very easy to like those 2 lads. Again, young talent coming through. Quickly cast your eye across as well to number 19, Ben McNamara, another young lad. But again, what's interesting about we said about the excitement around this season. There's no question that on paper, Hull look a stronger squad going into this year.
Yeah, interesting to see Scott Taylor's gone from 8 to 30. What does that tell us?
Maybe he's picked the shirt. I don't know. I mean, Taylor had a decent year, didn't he, last year?
He's struggling with injury, isn't he? And he's had a kind of an injury-hit career. I'm just wondering whether this might be his last season, which would be a shame because he's a beast of a player on his day.
But I mean, it's like Jamie Shaw, isn't it? I mean, he obviously likes the number 29, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, Sam Tompkins plays 29, doesn't he?
Exactly,
so,
yeah.
He could have picked the shirt. It's just, I don't know. Is it a statement? Because
I don't know.
Kane Evans is the player there. I like Kane Evans. He's a good.
You like Kane Evans? He's the man. Well, let's take a look at Hull's. Let's take a look at the Hull imports then. Whilst we're on that topic, we'll quickly have a quick look. He says. I don't know where. Oh, there we go. We're on. We finally caught up. So this is Joe. Lavadura, I'm going to have a guess at. I'm not quite. I'm not quite sure on the pronunciation. We'll get that right. But hooker. So this is, of course, backup for Danny Houghton, and there he is. From the South Sydney Rabbitohs, an unknown quantity. Only 11 appearances in the NRL. Fiji international, 8 appearances. He scored a couple of tries on his on both things. But I saw an article, Brett Hodgson, with regards to him, and Brett Hodgson's really sung his praises in the pre-season for the work that he's putting in training. He does see this guy as a good player and as a handful. As you can see there, hell of a turn of pace.
Fast guy.
Yeah, I mean that's right out of the Daz Clark handbook. That he seems to be. He looks a different style of hooker to Danny, and I think that's interesting. Two very different styles. So it'd be interesting to see if Brett Hodgson picks certain opponents for each hooker.
Do you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me a lot of a player called Dwayne Mann, who played for Warrington in the 80s. Just on his show reel, just little bits of scene of him, because I've had a look at this. Yeah. He just reminds me a little bit of Dwayne Mann, the way he supports and he backs up. Yeah. So obviously some Warrington fans might be wanting to burn me alive for saying that. That was a name that came to mind when I saw that highlights reel earlier this week.
Well, he's only 25, Greg.
He's only what?
He's only 25.
Yeah.
Again, and I think I don't know about you, but this is making me quite happy this year because with the exception of Mitchell Pearce, the vast majority of the imports this year are either coming into or actually at the peak of their careers, which is really good to see. If we are going to keep young British talent out of these squads, at least let's bring over some players that have got some pedigree. And then, you mentioned him, Kane Evans, prop forward. He's been brought over as well. South Sydney Rabbitohs. Let's take a quick look at Kane Evans. As you can see there, played for 3 clubs, 131 NRL appearances, 8 tries. Fiji international, 13 appearances for Fiji, 1 try. You can see a bit of a high tackle on James Graham. And a World All-Star. in 2016. So, you know, people might not know of Kane Evans if you don't watch the NRL, but
he's a big lad. He's a big unit.
That's a big hit. That was a big hit. And you know, and this what, without doubt, you know, and he's going into a pack that already has Chris Satay in. So you know, good signing. You know, in terms of his age, how old is he? I'm not sure how old is he? Kane Evans. I'm not quite sure how old Kane Evans actually is. I don't think he's old though, is he?
I get the feelings about 28, 29.
Yeah, so again, another player in his pomp, but that's a big hit. It's a big hit. If you know, this is what you're missing it. You know, that's proper sport. Proper sport. It's what you want. Beautiful stuff. So yeah, it's an interesting one. This it really is an interesting one in terms of Hull FC. Let me just bring us back over this side. Hey, there you go.
He's 30.
You're 30. So again, so for a rugby league player, you know, that is very much in his prime, isn't it? You know, there's no issues there.
You can't be doing my research there. He was 30 on the 9th of January, so 29 when they signed him, probably. So
so good acquisitions for Hull.
Yeah.
So now we get into the nitty gritty. Where do we see him?
Again, they've got Satay's injured. Satay got injured in a friendly at the weekend. He could be out a while, I reckon. I've got them as 8th.
Right. Okay.
I've got them as 8th.
You've got them as 8th.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Is Luke Gale better than Mark Sneyd? Is Luke Gale going to stay fit long enough?
That's it, isn't it?
Who's going to do the kicking for them?
Give it there.
No.
Well, it'll be. Well, Connor's known to kick, isn't he?
Yeah, but Connor gets injured a lot.
He gets suspended a lot.
Suspended a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and do you know what? You've hit the nail there, because when I was looking at their squad, that you know, on paper, it's a strong squad. However, Josh Reynolds last year was missing for quite a few games, injuries, etc. You know, they need him to have a good run of games. Obviously, Josh Griffin was missing as well, wasn't he? For
Josh Griffin with that really bad injury in the semi-final, was it?
But you've hit the nail on the head, Luke Gale. Luke Gale, their entire season, very similar to what I said about Huddersfield.
Yeah,
he's around the spine of that team. Jake Connor, they need a more mature Jake Connor this year.
He's got to step up to the plate. He's got to perform this year, and he's got to wind his neck in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not take the bait, not go and have silly 10 minutes on the side for something petulant. You know, he's got to. You know, he's a senior guy now. You know, again, we'll talk Man of Steel in the final show before the new season in terms of. But you know what? He'll probably be a name that we'll throw out there as a potential Man of Steel, and he is. But for me, the problem I've got with Hull, because I've actually put them 9th, which means that I put Huddersfield above them, which will. I can imagine some of the black and whites now throwing the beers. I can probably hear. Yeah, I can probably hear the noise all the way in Cheshire from
Humberside
right now going on. But yeah, and the reason is 1, Luke Gale, and 2, we know that for whatever reason they capitulate. They just capitulate every year. And do I think that Mark Sneyd is the only reason for that? Absolutely not. They've done it too many seasons.
Yeah, they start off well. They did start off well and then just fall away at the end.
And I could be wrong. I mean, and the interesting thing is, you know, when we get to the end of this and we've done the whole league, each other's leagues, and you see it, you know, the top 5, who knows? It could go anyway. Then you've got the race for 6, that could go anyway. Same with the. I won't say. I think Toulouse, for me, I'll say it now. I think you'll probably say the same. Can't see Toulouse finishing anywhere but bottom. But in terms of the 4 or 5 teams above them, again, it's a lottery as to where they'll be. But I just, over recent seasons, and as much as I'd love them to do well for Brett Hodgson, because I think Brett Hodgson's a quality rugby league man, I really do. You know, I just can't back him. I can't.
They've lost Fanua as well as Sneyd. They've lost.
Vanua's gone.
Mano.
They've got Faremo, Vanua, Mark Sneed's gone.
Vanua, Sneed.
Yeah. So they're the three big ones that they've got. But as we've just seen there, who they've replaced them with, good talent. No
It is unknown quantities, like you say.
A couple of unknown quantities, but on paper, based on the highlight reels, they look. It could work really, really well for. But recent years, they're going to hate me for saying this as well. If they finish above OKR, they've had a good year.
Yes, a very good year. Unless OKR finish bottom.
Don't see that.
Which I don't see.
Not
with Tony Smith in charge.
No, and exactly. So for me, jury's out on LFC. Jury out, but I put them ninth.
I call Mark Sneed the metronome because he was steady. He set the pace. He was steady. He kicked.
Yeah.
It's Luke Gale. On his day, a good player. Too injury prone for me.
Yeah. Well, this is where they start. And actually, again, very, very similar to what we were saying about Huddersfield. Yeah. It's not the worst start. And again, this is going to be interesting. Wakefield, first game away. That's going to show us what each team are about.
Yeah.
Then, of course, Saints, on Channel 4, great to see. Again, that should be a good game. Hull against Saints should be a good game. Then Salford, then Cass, and then Leeds. So, with the exception of Saints, the other four, if Hull have got any real top six ambition, they're going to be judged on those games.
I think when we said with the other two teams between 6 and 8, I think if Hull need to walk away with 8 points from those, not 6, 8.
That's a tall order. It's a tall order. That's a big tall order for me.
If they've got any designs on finishing top 6, the other clubs we talked about, Catalan, we expect, as we said, to be thereabouts. But Huddersfield and Hull, if Hull expect to finish above, because I think I've got them just above Huddersfield. I think they need to come away with 8 points. I think from those.
Yeah, no, I think it's like everything, isn't it? The start is so important, and I think for every team that's going to be the case. But yeah, Hull fans, but I think and I might be sitting here after 5 games saying I was completely and utterly balmy for what I said.
They might be top with 10 points from 10. You don't know.
You don't know, but again, just based on recent seasons and the fact that I still think there's something culturally not right at Hull. I don't believe that the departure of Mark Sneed, and I'm not saying that they got rid of Mark Sneed for anything other than rugby league reasons, but for me, from the outside looking in, don't really know the club that well. Speak to the odd Hull fan whose ears a bit closer to the ground. I think there's a cultural problem there, and
well big.
Has Hodgson? I mean, there's another interesting thing as well about Brett Hodgson. It's his second season now, so I think he has to have a good year this year. And knowing the black and white fans as we do, there is no if they don't finish above OKR, I fear for him because they'll be out for him. I think last year, maybe first season got a little bit of a. I mean, we heard rumours that he was getting in the air a bit last year, but if it goes a similar route this year, then
I mean, they got to the semi-final. I thought they were really unlucky in that semi-final. They could have actually still won it. I thought they were really unlucky in that semi-final. But like you say, but even as we say, if they walk away from 10 points from 10 games, the first 5 games, you still fear for them.
well, exactly. You don't. Yeah, it's post-Challenge Cup, whether they win it or whether they don't win it. It's post-Challenge Cup, isn't it? As soon as the Challenge Cup comes and goes, it's like, Hull just seem to go through this little.
Yeah.
And again, this is why it's so pivotal that Jake Connor steps up and shows a better level of maturity, because on his day, quality. And again, if Luke Gale's got unfinished business, Luke Gale will want to shine this year. I think that
it's important that Bayes fit.
But looking at the way in which things went at Leeds as well, near the end of his time there, I think it's fair to say
there was a few behind the scenes things that were going on there that we weren't privy to.
No, and that will have. I mean, to be fair, great pro. When you saw him after each game, you know, he was very much still a part of the heart. You know, he was still very much part of the club. But you know, a player with that, you know, this is a former Man of Steel. You know, to not really be getting a sniff at Leeds. I know he had his injury, but even so, even without his injury, he weren't getting a sniff at times. He will want to go to Hull and say,
prove a point.
I'm still a player.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Right. Well, there you go. First week over and done with. So where are we going to go? Goes quick, doesn't it? So what we'll do is, like I say, we'll keep an eye out for news-related things that goes on in and around Super League. Post them on our Fans Forum page this time next week. If there's anything of real note, we might have a little chat about that. If not, if there's nothing of major note, we might do 4 teams next week. But without doubt, should Castleford announce their squad, we're good to go. We'll be certainly talking through the Castleford squad. We'll, of course, be talking through Hull KR. We'll be talking through Leeds. And, of course, if we do go for a 4th team next week, we'll be talking about St. Helens as well. And we'll be deciding where we think they will be. But it's good to be back, mate. It is good.
Enjoy that.
Be back.
Been a long 3 months.
3 weeks to go till the new season.
Like I've always said, thank God they put Christmas in the middle of Super League seasons.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. I'm going to be like a little kid on Christmas Day in 3 weeks' time. But anyway, good to have your company, mate. As always,
we will be back
this time next week for preview show number 2. But for everybody who's took the time to watch us, really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, guys.
Next week. Bye for now.
Take care, people. See you soon.